Welcome to New England's only national park, Acadia National Park. Acadia is a unique blend of mountains, evergreen forests, and ocean, making it one of the most diverse and popular national parks, despite being one of the smallest. This is one of my first visits to both a national park and Maine, and I'm eager to explore. We began at the visitor center to buy a park pass and get started before starting our journey. We visited during peak season, so our strategy to see most of the park while minimizing time fighting crowds was to drive the park loop, which made this a super easy national park to navigate for a first-timer, and then find parking and explore, or continue on to the next point of interest if there was none or it was too crowded. This worked well except for Cadillac Mountain, which we needed to reserve a spot for online. Cadillac Mountain, found on Mount Desert's eastern half, is where the first rays of sun hit the United States, and is an iconic spot in the park. Sunrise spots filled up quickly, so we missed that part. Although the area was crowded, there was enough space to enjoy the view. And here is what it would look like if we had got those sunrise spots. No trip to Acadia is complete without visiting Bahaba, a charming coastal town known as the gateway to Acadia, featuring shops, restaurants, and nice places to stay. We were impressed by the food variety, ranging from basic lobster rolls to fine dining, but we were especially impressed by the Project Social Kitchen and bar we visited. We snagged a table in the cute garden in front of a fireplace, because we had to rest and fuel up well for more hiking. Thunder Hole is another iconic feature of the park, famous for the thunderous sound when waves crash into a narrow chasm before high tide. We visited in the afternoon, so we heard no thunder and found it crowded already, which was an ongoing theme of our visit, which is what happens when you visit during peak time. Here's a sample of what Thunder Hole would look and sound like at high tide. Instead of returning later for the show and dealing with crowds, we continued driving the park loop for more sights. Originally, we planned to hike the Beehive or Precipice trails for the thrill, but they were closed for nesting birds, which is a thing that you will run into depending on when you visit in the summer. Instead, we climbed Acadia Mountain, enjoying a semi-challenging hike with a beautiful overlook, and had the trail mostly to ourselves. Here's a behind-the-scenes look of how we got this shot. After all that hiking, it was time to fuel up again. So for dinner, we visited Southwest Harbor, which is just a short 20-minute drive from the park, in a quaint village with shops, art galleries, and restaurants. It was nice and quiet, much quieter than Bar Harbor, which allowed us to experience Acadia's authentic side. Our peaceful Airbnb was also here, which gave us plenty of quiet to rejuvenate. And here's a super speed 10-second tour of our Airbnb. Whee! For a real authentic experience of Acadia, we took a wildlife cruise to experience the Atlantic. Although we didn't see much wildlife because there was an incoming storm and all the animals had taken shelter. The tour included lighthouses though, vintage homes, and a journey through Frenchman Bay and the East Coast's only fjord. We also explored the Atlantic on foot, visiting the natural seawall and Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. The seawall was perfect for wandering among the rocks and water. At Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse, we surprisingly found parking right outside. We got spectacular views of the lighthouse and coastal views. It has to be one of the only lighthouses that you can park outside of immediately and wander up to. So my thoughts on Maine and Acadia National Park after visiting are basically that Maine's coast is peaceful and beautiful. It makes me want to return to see more, and Acadia is ideal for beginners. It's accessible, well-mapped, dog-friendly, and suitable for all ages and abilities. It was a great first national park for me to visit as a complete beginner. However, I didn't enjoy the crowds and plan to visit national parks in the off-season from now on. I like to go to these places and hike for my mental health and peace of mind. So hiking Acadia, mostly in solitude, was my favorite part of this trip, and we only got that when we hiked Acadia Mountain. We were lucky enough to be able to road trip into Acadia, so we saw many more things on the way. If you want to see what those were, check out these videos.